Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 2026 full City Council meeting. Tonight's meeting is being held in City Council chambers and is being streamed live on City 12 TV, as well as the City Council Facebook and YouTube pages. We also continue to post meeting information and materials on the city's website. The meeting will now come to order, and ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Gruber. Councilmember Leslie Smith.
Here.
Councilmember Lupien.
Here.
Councilmember Martin is excused. Councilmember Monroe.
Here.
Councilmember Patterson.
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Here.
Vice President Harris.
Here.
President Melendez.
Here.
Thank you.
Councilmember Gruber, will you please lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance? In honor of Black History Month, tonight we are paying homage to the African American trailblazers of Rochester's past and look into the future with the literal trailblazers of Black Girls Do Bike. Each one of us will read a short passage about an African American Rochesterian who has greatly impacted our city and who continues to stand as role models for all of us as we continue to work towards a Rochester of safer neighborhoods, quality housing, and equitable opportunities for all. I will begin with Franklin Delano Roosevelt Florence, Sr. Franklin Delano Roosevelt Florence, Sr. was a minister whose civil rights activism in Rochester spanned half a century. He was the president and founder of FIGHT, a civil rights group formed amid significant local political action in the 1960s. Franklin Florence also served as a senior pastor at the Central Church of Christ in Rochester, which he founded.
Margaret Midge Thomas, whose recent passing still weighs heavy on my heart, and was a beacon of light in our city and a dedicated philanthropist whose work will live on for decades to come. Together with her late husband, Dr. Freddie L. Thomas, a visionary educator, mentor, and champion for youth development, she built a legacy rooted in service, faith, and opportunity. Mrs. Thomas' love for Rochester and the people who call our city home was endless. She and Dr. Thomas opened their homes to countless young people, building a community grounded in compassion, guidance, and unwavering support. Their love created a foundation that will stand as a shining example for future generations.
Bobby Johnson, who was also known as the Bard of Clarissa Street, was a prolific writer, performer, and community advocate. Bobby's work was integral to the Clarissa Street neighborhood until his passing in 2022. Today, we remember him as a beacon of culture in Rochester, shining light on our community through artistic expression.
Hester Jeffrey was an activist in the local temperance and women's suffrage movement and an advocate for the rights of African American women. She served as county superintendent and 3rd Ward secretary of the Women's Christian Temperance Union and organized several clubs for Black women, including the Hester C. Jeffrey Club, which raised money to send Black women to college.
Trenton James Jackson was an NFL wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles who grew up in Rochester and attended Franklin High School. Jackson was a mentor and educator whose accomplishments on the field and off continue to inspire youth in our city every day.
Frances Fanny Barrier Williams was the first African American graduate of Brockport Normal School, now SUNY Brockport, earning her teaching degree in 1870. After moving to Chicago, she helped to found the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and the National Association of Colored Women.
Howard W. Coles was a journalist whose work blazed a path for countless civically minded Rochesterians. Coles founded the Frederick Douglass Voice, a Rochester paper which championed issues and opinions at the heart of the Black community in Rochester, from basic civil rights, redlining, and migrant worker issues to neighborhood happenings and society news.
Thomas James was a formerly enslaved man who became a minister, abolitionist, administrator, and author. James served with the American Missionary Association and the Union Army during the American Civil War to supervise a contraband camp in Louisville, Kentucky. He later held national office in the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church.
Constance Connie Mitchell was the first African American woman to be elected to the Monroe County Legislature. She was a fierce advocate for housing, jobs, and equality in Rochester, fighting for educational advancement, improved living and working conditions, better employment opportunities, and higher pay for historically underserved people in our city.
As we all can tell, Rochester is rich in history and activism, and we have huge shoes, all of us here, to attempt to fill and walk in, and we're grateful to have these examples in our own community. So now I'd like to ask my colleagues to join me at the podium for tonight's recognition. So we've just given thanks and appreciation to the Black Trailblazers of Rochester's past, and now I would like to invite up Black Girls Do Bike to join us in the front. So for those that don't, Black Girls Do Bike continuously invests in the trailblazers of the future. On behalf of Rochester City Council, we thank you for your work promoting the joys of cycling among women and girls of color. You continue to build a community and culture that celebrates fellowship, fitness, freedom, and fun. Organizations like Black Girls Do Bike are integral to building a Rochester that is safe, has quality housing, and access to opportunities. I would like to mention that Black Girls Do Bike will also be hosting the annual Ride of Silence on May 20th. The event honors cyclists who have been either killed or injured while riding. Cyclists will meet at Liberty Pole, 5:30 p.m., May 20th, and all are welcome. Black Girls Do Bike will also host Unity Bike Rides every third Tuesday of the month from May through August at 6:30 p.m. You can follow Black Girls Do Bike on social media to learn more about specific dates and locations when they are announced. Thank you so much for your service to our community. We really appreciate all of you. We'll take a moment for a picture. Next, we have approval of the minutes by Councilmember Lupian.
Resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting on January 27th, 2026 be approved as published in the official sheets of the proceedings.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
The following documents are hereby directed to be received and filed. The mayor submits the following: delinquent receivables report for the month ending December 2025. The council submits disclosure of interest forms from Vice President Harris and Councilmember Lupian on introductory number 44, Councilmember Gruber on introductory numbers 46, 47, 48, and 49.
Thank you. These documents will be received and filed. It's time for the presentation and reference of any petitions and other communications. Are there any petitions?
I have one petition to submit related to the preservation of the East End Green at 125 Charlotte Street.
Thank you, Councilmember Lupian. That petition will be received and filed. We will now move on to the reports of standing committees and action thereon. Chairperson Patterson, the Neighborhoods, Jobs, and Housing Committee report, please.
To the Council, the Neighborhood Jobs and Housing Committee recommends for adoption the following entitled legislation. Introductory number 39, authorizing the sale of real estate. Introductory number 40, resolution approving appointments to the Rochester Environmental Commission. Introductory number 41, amending the Municipal Code, Section 90-16, with respect to certificates of occupancy as amended. This report is respectfully submitted by myself, Michael A. Patterson, Council members LaShonda Leslie Smith, Councilmember Mary Lupian, Council Vice President Lachey D. Harris, and Council President Miguel A. Melendez, Jr.
Thank you, Chairperson Patterson. That report will be received, filed, and published, and we'll proceed with the vote. Introductory number 39, authorizing the sale of real estate. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 40, a resolution approving appointment to the Rochester Environmental Commission. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 41, amending the Municipal Code, Section 90-16, with respect to certificates of occupancy as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chairperson Gruber, the Budget, Finance, and Governance Committee report, please.
To the Council, the Budget, Finance, and Governments Committee recommends for adoption the following entitled legislation. Introductory number 42, authorizing an addendum to an intergovernmental agreement for the provision of endpoint protection response services. Introductory number 43, authorizing a cybersecurity services agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. Introductory number 44, authorizing an amendatory agreement related to the Mosaic Artwork and Oral History Project at School number 22. Introductory number 45, authorizing an agreement related to the Physical Agility Test for Firefighter Civil Service Examination. And introductory number 46, amending a New York State Education Department Library Construction Grant Agreement. This report was respectfully submitted by Councilmember Stanley Martin, Kiera Smith, Vice President Lachey Harris, President Melendez, and myself, Mitch Gruber.
Thank you, Chairperson Gruber. That report will be received, filed, and published, and we'll proceed with the vote. Introductory number 42, authorizing an addendum to the intergovernmental agreement for the provision of endpoint protection response services. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 43, authorizing a cybersecurity services agreement with the New York State Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 44, authorizing a mandatory agreement related to the Mosaic Artwork and Oral History Project at School number 22. There are two disclosures for this item. Councilmember Lupian and Vice President Harris are both employed by the district, but they're only required to disclose this information, and they may participate in discussion in the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 45, authorizing an agreement related to the Physical Agility Test for Firefighter Civil Service Examination. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 46, amending a New York State Education Department library construction grant agreement. There's also a disclosure for this item. Councilmember Gruber is the council liaison to the Rochester Public Library Board, but he's only required to disclose the information, may participate in discussion and the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Chairperson Monroe, the People, Parks, and Public Work Committee report, please.
Yes, the People, Parks, and Public Works Committee recommends for adoption the following entitled legislation. Introductory number 47, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $1,165,000 bonds of said city to finance the Rundell Memorial Library filtration and intake air upgrades project. Introductory number 48, authorizing an agreement for the Rundell Memorial Library filtration and intake air upgrades project. Introductory number 49, authorizing an agreement related to the Rundell Memorial Library terrace evaluation and repair program. Introductory number 50, authorizing a grant agreement for the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for the Honorable Willie Walker Lightfoot R. Center for Equity and Justice Site Improvement Project. Introductory 51, authorizing appropriations and agreement related to the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. Introductory number 52, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $3,248 million bonds of said city to finance the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. Number 53, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $795,000 bonds of said city to finance water service improvements associated with the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. Introductory number 54, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $2,786,000 bonds of said city to finance certain costs of the Hazardous Sidewalk Replacement Program Northeast Quadrant Contract 2026, Phase 3. Introductory number 55, authorizing an amendatory agreement relating to the Hazardous Sidewalk Replacement Program Northeast Quadrant Contract 2026, Phase 3, and subsequent annual hazardous sidewalk replacement programs. Introductory number 56, authorizing agreements and appropriation for the Inner Loop North Transformation Project. Introductory number 57, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance of the state aid program eligible costs of a capital project entitled Inner Loop North Transformation and appropriating funds therefor. Introductory number 58, authorizing a grant application related to the New York State Department of Transportation's Transportation Alternatives Program. And here I would like to make a note that we did have a constituent come to speak to council who just wants to ensure that the needs of the disabled community will be taken into consideration such that there can be bus drop-offs both inbound and outbound on South Clinton. Particularly a lot of neighbors from the Pinnacle Place apartments do use the library. Introductory number 59, authorizing a license agreement for the use of a water sports facility at Genesee Valley Park. Introductory number 60, authorizing an agreement for the recruitment of a veterinarian. Introductory 62, bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $800,000 bonds of said city to finance the Hemlock Lake Dam Shoreline Protection Phase 2 project. Introductory number 63, authorizing agreement and appropriation for the Hemlock Dam Shoreline Protection Phase 2 project. This is respectfully submitted by Councilmember Mitch Gruber, Councilmember Michael A. Patterson, Vice President Lachey D. Harris, President Michael A. Melendez Jr., and myself, Bridget A. Monroe.
Thank you, Chairperson Monroe. That report will be received, filed, and published, and will proceed with the vote. Introductory number 47, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $1,165,000 bonds of said city to finance the Rundell Memorial Library filtration and intake air upgrades project. There is a disclosure on this one. Councilmember Gruber is a member of the Library Board but can participate. This requires a roll call.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupian,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin is excused, Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith, Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll note the same disclosure on 48 and 49, so I don't have to repeat it. Introduction number 48, authorizing an agreement for the Rundell Memorial Library filtration and intake air upgrades project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction number 49, authorizing an agreement related to the Rundell Memorial Library terrace evaluation and repair program. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction number 50, authorizing a grant agreement for the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York for the Honorable Willie Walker Lightfoot, Our Center for Equity and Justice Site Improvement Project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction number 51, authorizing appropriations and agreement related to the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 52, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $3,248,000 bonds of said city to finance the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. This requires a roll call.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupian,
Yes.
Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith, Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Introductory number 53, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $795,000 bonds of said city to finance water service improvements associated with the Seneca Avenue Reconstruction Project, Norton Street to East Ridge Road. This requires a roll call.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupian,
Yes.
Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith, Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes. Motion
Thank you.
carries. Introductory number 54, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $2,786,000 bonds of said city to finance certain costs of the hazardous sidewalk replacement program, Northeast Quadrant Contract 2026, Phase 3. This requires a roll call.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupian,
Yes.
Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith, Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Introductory number 55, authorizing a mandatory agreement related to the Hazardous Sidewalk Replacement Program Northeast Quadrant Contract 2026 Phase 3 and subsequent annual hazardous sidewalk replacement programs. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 56, authorizing agreements and appropriation for the Interloop North Transformation Project. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 57, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance of the state aid program eligible costs of the capital project entitled Interloop North Transformation and appropriating funds therefore. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Introductory number 58, authorizing a grant application related to the New York State Department of Transportation's Transportation Alternatives Program. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. One note on that. I know we just went through and passed it, but to the administration, there was a request that speak to council, and Councilmember Monroe read it into the report there. But also, I believe Councilmember Lupien sent an email related to this. But just to understand what the possibility of bus traffic would be on South Avenue moving forward, and making sure that in whatever design that moves forward, there's enough room to accommodate that. If we could maybe just get a response later in writing on how that might be feasible. Thank you. Introduction number 59, authorizing a license agreement for the use of a water sports facility at Genesee Valley Park.
President Melendez,
Vice President Harris.
I have a question for the administration. I'd like to say thank you very much for providing the questions to my answers in the committee. I just got a follow-up question. Could you please provide in writing a list of partners who have agreements with the city for use of facilities? And I also like to expound on the question you have in writing here. Just want to clarify that you have in writing you wrote down that they'll be making necessary improvements to the site and implement more community-focused programs. That's the reason why they get the $1 fee for the license. If you can please give us an update as to what improvements they'll be doing, and can you provide what past improvements they've done over the years in writing, if you could, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. All right, so intro 59. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction number 60, authorize an agreement for the recruitment of a veterinarian. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Introduction number 62, a bond ordinance of the City of Rochester, New York, authorizing the issuance of $800,000 bonds of said city to finance the Hemlock Lake Dam Shoreline Protection Phase 2 project. This requires a roll call.
Councilmember Gruber,
Yes.
Councilmember Leslie Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Lupien,
Yes.
Councilmember Monroe,
Yes.
Councilmember Patterson,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith, Vice President Harris,
Yes.
President Melendez.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Introduction number 63, authorizing agreement and appropriation for the Hemlock Lake Dam Shoreline Protection Phase 2 project. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Vice President Harris, the Public Safety Committee report, please.
Thank you, President Melendez. To the Council, the Public Safety Committee recommends adoption for the following entitled legislation. Introductory number 61, authorizing a mandatory agreement for the fire station alerting system. This report will be respectfully submitted by Councilmembers Mitch Gruber, Lysandra Leslie Smith, Mary Lupien, Stanley Martin, Bridget A. Monroe, Michael A. Patterson, Kiara Kiki Smith, and President Miguel A. Melendez Jr., and myself, President Lachey D. Harris.
Thank you, Vice President Harris. That report will be received, filed, and published, and will proceed with the vote. Introductory number 61, authorizing a mandatory agreement for the fire station alerting system. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So before we close, we have a couple of miscellaneous items really quick. Do want to remind the public that earlier this month I released a report on homelessness, putting people in neighborhoods first. That report is available online on the City of Rochester website. I'll give the community the Cliff Notes version. So read the letter in the beginning. Page 5 starts the recommendations, the executive summary. And then on page 89 is really where the meat and potatoes of the recommendations are. So if you could take a look at that, and I appreciate any feedback from the community that you're willing to reach out to me for. In addition, as a reminder, I want to let everyone know that the Black Heritage Committee is hosting a series of events to celebrate our nation's Black heritage. We welcome you to join Black Heritage Committee events coming up. So we have on Thursday, February 26th from 5:30 to 7 at City Hall, a panel discussion celebrating 100 years of Black history, past, present, and future. On Tuesday, March 3rd, from 5:30 to 7:30, we have a women's recognition ceremony. And on Saturday, April 11th, starting at 5:30 p.m., the City of Rochester hosts the Black Heritage Gala, which is an annual event that the committee does an excellent job putting on. I want to thank Clerk Washington and everyone else that's part of the committee for their leadership and their continued support of these events.
Mr. President.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Patterson.
Information request for the administration, specifically DES. So yesterday, I noticed one of our new leased garbage trucks out in the community. Could we get in writing how many garbage trucks we're currently leasing and what the lease cost is? Either that or somebody's out there stealing garbage, one of the two things. I don't think anybody's stealing our garbage. But it was nice to see that the trucks are there. I understand there has been a shortage of vehicles to perform the work, and it's nice to see that the administration is very proactive in addressing that issue. So I just want to thank you for that. But it'd be nice to know how many trucks we're leasing and what that cost is. Thank you.
All right, before I turn it to Vice President Harris, I'm going to turn it to Councilmember Lupien.
Yeah, speaking of DES, just very quickly, I take the inner loop a lot. And if anyone takes the inner loop, it's like dodging potholes the whole way. I've called in a few, and I wonder if there's any pressure that you can put on New York State to take care of those.
Was it 1-800-POTHOLE? Is the number? Yeah. And I believe just a few short years ago, former Commissioner Perrin spent some energy getting that repaired, and I remember it got resurfaced, and here we are again with the same problem again. So, Vice President Harris.
Thank you. Last year, the Mayor Evans and Monroe County worked on launching the Heart Safe City initiative. Today, we continue those efforts in making Rochester a heart safe city. Many of you may not know, but I am also a first responder, a New York State and nationally registered paramedic. Today, I want to talk to you about something simple, something powerful, something that can mean the difference between life and death. Hands-only CPR. Every year, thousands of people across our country suffer sudden cardiac arrest. It does not just happen in hospitals. It happens in living rooms, in barbershops, in churches, in grocery stores, on our sidewalks. It happens right here in Rochester. When cardiac arrest strikes, every second matters. Brain damage can begin within 4 to 6 minutes, but emergency responders, even our outstanding Rochester Fire Department and AMR teams, cannot always arrive in time to prevent the tragedy on their own. That's where we all come in. Hands-only CPR is exactly what it sounds like. Call 911 and push hard and fast in the center of your chest. No mouth-to-mouth, no complicated steps, just steady compressions at a rate of about 100 to 100 beats per minute while you're thinking of the rhythm staying alive. It is simple, it is effective, and it saves lives. Studies show that immediate CPR can double or even triple a person's chance of survival, yet too often bystanders hesitate. They worry about doing it wrong. They fear liability. They feel unsure. Let me be clear. Doing something is always better than doing nothing. And in New York State, the Good Samaritan law protects individuals who step in to help during an emergency. In communities like ours, where health disparities persist and access to care is not always equal, we must empower residents with the tools that level the playing field. Cardiac arrest survival should not depend on your zip code. It should not depend on your income. It should not depend on luck. It should depend on community readiness. Imagine if every high school student in Rochester learned hands-only CPR before graduation. Imagine if every church usher, barber, child care provider, bus driver, and recreation care staff member was trained. Imagine if every neighborhood association began with a 5-minute CPR refresher. We can become a city where survival rates rise because neighbors refuse to stand by. This is not a health initiative, it is a community commitment. We can partner with our hospitals, our schools, our faith leaders, and our public safety agencies to expand free training sessions. We can use social media to spread awareness. We can host demonstrations at community events, block parties and festivals. We can place AEDs in accessible, visible locations and ensure residents know how to use them. The goal is simple. When someone's heart stops, Rochester responds, not with panic, not with hesitation, but with action. Each of us have two hands. With knowledge and courage, those two hands can restart a heart. Those two hands can save a mother, a brother, a friend, a child. Let us be the generation that says in Rochester, we don't wait, we act, we learn, we lead, and we save lives. Thank you, and I encourage each of you to commit tonight to learning hands-only CPR and teaching someone else to do the same, because the next life saved could be dependent on you. Thank you. You can learn more about the Heart Safe City initiative going to cityofrochester.gov.
Thank you, Vice President Harris. And before we conclude, just one more note. I want to thank my council colleagues for signing a resolution, memorializing resolution, asking for AIM support from the state of New York. And we're hopeful that we receive support from the state of New York. So I want to put on the record that this council is supporting the administration's effort to close some gaps that we see and that we hope that we're able to fill with our state delegation and the governor. Thank you very much. And with no further business, we stand adjourned.